we like living. I mean, we like living behind the shops. So you know, we it's not like they built that since we moved there. It was there already. So you know, we moved there with our eyes wide open.
Full knowledge.
I should get my ears closed though. But anyway, hey everybody.
Hey everybody.
Larry.
Got a lot to be thankful for this year, you know. I'm thankful I'm not sick. So that's what I'm thankful for.
That's for sure.
You know, thankful for good health, you know, so that's good. Yeah. How's everybody doing? Okay?
Yeah, Larry, is everybody in your family now moved here? Are they all here now?
My daughter is getting ready to move down here with her Navy husband, and they just bought a house down here, Dan. So we're getting more and more entrenched in Jacksonville. So yeah, so he's getting out of the Navy and he's going to pursue his flourishing IT career. So
where are they buying a home?
It is you know where Normandy Boulevard is? Yeah, it's right down there, and there's several new developments down there, you know, and then they're in one of it's called Dream Homes, I guess, you know, so yeah, it's a beautiful house. Oh man. So you know, but so they're planning on being here for a while. So my wife's really happy about that. You know, she's like daughter down here, so it's coming together, you know. Yeah, you know, thanks for asking. I appreciate that. So.
No, that's good news, and I'm sure you'll be glad to have them there. And where are they moving from?
Norfolk.
Oh, so yeah, that makes sense. Sure, about as Navy as they can get. So
yeah, that's right.
That's a Navy town for sure.
That's right. That's absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Jerry, I'm going to take a photo. I'm going to take a screenshot of you, and if I put a beard on you right now and a red hat, I mean, you could be a good Santa Claus for sure.
I like that green shirt, Jerry.
Thanks. I've got my microphone had my microphone turned off. I've got the yard folks running their mowers and blowers out here.
Mm-hmm.
We know the deal.
Looks like John Barley has a haircut.
You can only see half his. I can only see half his head.
Yeah, but he looks like he got a trim.
Well, you know, you do it every 2 months, whether you need it or not.
I can stretch it out a little bit longer with this short do. Is Mr. Milne in person at the club? We know. I don't know. Hey, Will.
Who is Mr. Milne?
Doug.
Okay. I thought maybe his dad was around again.
I was with him earlier, MP, so he'll definitely be with us.
Is he going to be on Zoom or in person? Do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Marshall, is Mr. Milne there?
Is Marshall there?
Marshall's there. He's here. Okay.
I see you, buddy. I see you. I see you. I see you. Hey, hey, hey. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down.
Hey, Gigi, is anybody going back? Anybody going back up north for the holidays or anything? Or you stayed put?
No, Thanksgiving is canceled. We're, we're staying put. Usually, my mother-in-law travels north to spend Thanksgiving up there, but they canceled Thanksgiving. And then the thought was, well, maybe we should all go to her in Birmingham. And we've all just decided the safest thing to do is everybody just stay put. Like, we'll just have to virtually be thankful, because it's not worth the risk right now.
I'm calling it a Zoom. We're going to have a Zoom full Thanksgiving. Yeah, we were supposed to go. My sister and her husband and their kids had moved to Wisconsin, where he's from. We were hoping we would come to visit them, and we had made some reservation. And I said to Laura, "It's insane. We can't go to Wisconsin, especially Wisconsin at this point, and just the interaction in airports, and it's just not worth it." So.
No.
This was our year to go to Richmond to be with Frank's family, and his mom likes to have all 20 of us in the house together. And so, and we've got 3 college students coming home. We just said, nah, we'll pass this year. 30-year tradition. That was hard to hold the family.
And I think that's Mary Pat, that's the case. In my sister's case, two of the kids, the 2 boys are both in one's in University of Wisconsin in Madison, the other one just started Minnesota. And it just seems like there's too many multipliers there. That's the problem.
Right.
Well, 2 of them were on the field at Notre Dame, that super spreader event they had.
Oh my gosh, when they stormed the field, I saw that. Oh my goodness.
That about did it for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, even the colleges, our neighbor's daughter goes to FSU. They're sending the students home for Thanksgiving, and they're not coming back until the beginning of the next semester because they don't want them to go home, be with family, and then bring back whoever they were just exposed to. So it's just scary how many people. I'm just nervous. My mother-in-law's best friend is going to go get together with 30 family members and is traveling. And my worry is, the best friend will come back and then they spend time together and they don't get it. It blows my mind that some people honestly just don't actually get how serious this is, even with all the people that are sick and dying. I don't understand why some people just don't connect it.
That's a good question.
So all we can do is what we can do, and be smart and be good examples and keep going.
That's right.
Anyhow,
I see Mark Frost. Welcome.
Hello there. How are you?
Good to see you. Welcome aboard.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
yes.
From afar.
Where are you?
I'm in Melrose.
Okay. Thanks for being with us.
I'm at home.
Looks like Marshall's getting us ready.
Okay. Well, this group is definitely on my list of what I'm thankful for. When you sit back
you don't have much to be thankful for.
Oh. Oh, goodness.
This is what's kind of kept me sane through all of this. The weekly ritual is nice.
Hey, Mary Pat, are people still buying chickens chicks at the same rate?
It's been crazy. It's
Really?
remarkable. Yeah. You know, we thought we'd have a whole flurry of people wanting to return them. But, you know, now's the time if they were all purchased in the spring, now's the time they start laying eggs. So I call it paying rent. So they're finally paying rent.
Mary Pat, do you sell chickens?
My husband and I own Standard Feed and
Okay,
Seed
sure.
downtown.
I've bought a ton of food from you. When did you buy that?
It's been a little over 2.5 years. So it's
Okay.
recent.
I bought a lot of feed from there. For 20 years, I've had 2 draft horses.
Oh, you're
Yeah, I've got a small farm down here in Melrose, and I had 2 draft horses that they're Belgians. They look like Clydesdales. I would hitch them up, and I had an 18-foot wagon, and we'd do parades. And one time, even drove them through the Hardee's in Keystone Heights, and everybody freaked out.
Oh, how cool! Do you still have them?
No, I had them for 20 years. They passed on. They
wow.
Drafts only live to be about 25 to 27 max, and they lived to be 24. So I was glad to have them that long.
How did you decide on that breed? They're incredibly beautiful and powerful.
Well, when I was in veterinary school, the Clydesdale horses came to our school and gave us a private show. And we got to examine them, look at them, touch them, feel them. And I fell in love with drafts. So when I bought this little farm down here, I looked around and found a man in Chiefland that goes up to the Amish country every year and buys a matched pair. And so he bought this pair. They were 2 years old. He trained them to drive and trained them to ride. And I bought them at 2 years of age and just enjoyed them immensely.
Oh, that's fascinating.
It was just my hobby.
What were their names? Mark, what were their names?
Rocky and Rudy.
Rocky and Rudy.
That's great.
Yeah. I worked all week long in Jacksonville and needed an escape, so we always go down to the farm on the weekends, and that was my hobby. So they were real fun.
Oh, that's cool. I've never known anybody that had those.
Are they were 1,200, 1,400 pounds? What were they?
No, guys. Rocky was 2,100 pounds and Rudy was 2,000 pounds.
Wow.
Those are
Yeah, they were over 17 hands high.
Wow.
Big boys. And they would go through 50 pounds of feed a week. Plus, in the winter, they would eat a whole round bale a week.
Wow. That's cool.
They were a lot of fun, worth every penny. But they were like 2 Labradors. When you go over to the farm, I had a picnic table out there, and you'd go sit at it. The kids and my wife and I would sit at it and have lunch. They'd want to sit at the picnic table. They want to get in your lap. They were just incredible beings. They were such kind, gentle animals.
Wow.
But anyway, if I had your email address, I'd show a picture of them. I don't know how to post a picture on this thing.
You can send it to Patty. She'll share it next week.
Okay, I'll send it to Patty.
That would be great.
I'd like to see it.
I would too.
Is Patty listening?
I don't see her on this Zoom call. What's your email, Mark? And I'll email.
Send me an email and I'll send you one back. It's all lowercase, drfrost@aol.com.
Oh, you know what, Mark? I didn't realize you had a time machine as well. But you went back in time and opened an AOL account. Holy mackerel, that's amazing.
Give me a break, Maloney. Give me a break. I think I was one of AOL's first customers, and you can't change your email address. It's too difficult. So yes, I have a time machine. Thank you.
Yeah, pull out that, show us that flip phone while you're at it.
I never knew you were an Avondale guy, Dan.
Yeah, we're right behind Monty's there.
I know that. Listen, back in the 60s, well, Monty's used to be down the street at where the brick is. It was called the AL&W, Avondale Liquors and Wines. And I went in there on my 21st birthday to ask for my free drink. And they said, wait a minute, you've been coming in here for 2 years.
and riding a horse in there too. Well, Mark, our house is on Pine Street there, and it's right. Our garage opens to the alleyway, but it's right across from where Betty Milne had lived. So we were.
Yeah,
right,
I knew that well. Yeah, my office was right down the street, right there at the corner of St. John's and Herschel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 35 years.
Well, there's a new they're calling it Avondale Veterinary Clinic or whatever, but it's opening right at the corner of Park and Dancy. It's on the west.
Yeah, I know that
southwest
place.
side.
That used to be a restaurant years ago. I wish them luck. My old practice is now corporately owned, and they just did a lot of renovations in there.
Well, good. We'll have to reminisce a little bit more.
There you go. Who owns Monty's now, Dan?
It's a couple of brothers that have Shores Liquors, so they have locations in Jacksonville and also I think St. Augustine. Before them, it was Nick and Linda. I think
Spofford. There were Spoffords.
Yeah, they sold it to these two guys.
Okay.
Probably, I don't know, 5 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
So.
I knew Nick. Nick's daddy was the donut man in Jacksonville. He had the Krispy Kremes.
That's awesome.
I thought Jerry was the donut man in Jacksonville. No? Where did he go?
Well, why would you think I'm the donut man?
I don't know, Jerry.
Maybe because I look like a donut.
No, he's the candy man.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go.
I know you like donuts, Jerry.
I think Marshall's ready to kick things off at the club. He just messaged me.
If you haven't heard Doug's Thanksgiving talk before, it's really good.
I love it.
It is good. It's also one of those things I look forward to. Tradition.
There we go. And with that, thank you, Marshall. Welcome to the November 18th meeting of the Rotary Club of West Jacksonville. We're so delighted to be able to be here on Zoom and in person. Marshall, can you hear me there? Looks like we're standing. Our invocation today will be given by Mike Pendergrast. I can't see if he's there.
Always ready to go. Let us pray. So, Father, again, we thank you for this time to gather, both in person and virtually. Lord, for the opportunity to be together as Rotarians. Lord, we're thankful for the ability to put service above self. Help us to do that well in this season and always. Pray for your blessing on our meeting today and our speaker, and bless this food to our use and us to your service. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yeah.
Thank you. And I can't see if Jay Henderlight is there. He has us for the pledge. If not, if we could get a pitch hitter for that too, please.
They need to come up to the podium.
Yeah, Ike isn't there today, so we were pinch hitting the best we could today. Marshall, can you hear me all right in the room?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for everybody for bearing with us. It's a little challenging being off site, but we're thrilled to be able to present via Zoom and in person. Today, just wanted to remind everybody, if you had questions or you wanted to speak, if you'll wait till the end, keep yourself muted, and we'll have discussion after the presentation today. Next week, we will have no Rotary meeting because of Thanksgiving. And I just wanted to remind you that the next in-person meeting will be December 2nd. Then we'll Zoom on December 9th, and then we'll be back for our Christmas party at the zoo on December 17th. So if you will make sure to RSVP to Patty on the Friday before December 2nd. And then of course we need your RSVP for the Christmas party. Dan, did you want to speak to that and to the safety precautions that we can expect at the zoo for the 17th?
Sure, Mary Pat. We're excited to be able to have people come out. We're going to be on Shaba Terrace again. That's it's covered, but it's open air. You know, the heaters there, and we'll make sure that we maintain good physical distancing. We've been doing events at the zoo now for 4 months during COVID, and we feel like we've got a pretty good handle on how to keep people safe. Zoo lights will be up and running at that point, so that's part of the benefit of coming out. Bringing family and getting a chance to enjoy again open air. And we at all the staff at the zoo, anybody with whom you would be around, are all required to wear face coverings. Guests are not. None of our guests are required to do it. But if you're interacting with any staff, you can be guaranteed that they'll be protecting you from them.
Thank you, Dan. That was a wonderful party last year, and I know I'm looking forward to it. And we welcome everybody to bring your family and enjoy the night of lights at the zoo. And you will please RSVP, because we have to. We won't be able to do the buffet, so we'll need to make sure we have the food orders in advance. This Saturday is the bicycle tour hosted by Charlie Fetzer. Is he in person or on the call to give us a reminder and a little bit more direction on that?
I'm in person.
Yay.
Anyway, we have a bike ride this Saturday at 10 o'clock. It's right behind Standard Feed. It's going to be a lot of fun. Little short ride. It's not terribly long. I do have a maps that make it a longer ride if anybody wants to do a 10 or 20-mile ride. That's it. It's right behind Standard Feed. You'll see everybody. I'll have some flyers right after the meeting here. 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for organizing that. We're still working on December 5th. If Marathon High is running, we'll be out hoping to volunteer for their run on the morning of December 5th at a water station or something like that. We've done that in the past. I'm waiting to hear an update as to whether or not the Marathon High kids are practicing. And we're scheduled for bell ringing on November 28th. You can do a 1 or a 2 hour block. And we have openings on November 28th from 2 to 4 and 4 to 6. And right now we only have 1 slot available for the 6 to 8 time frame. So we're only scheduling 2 folks per time slot this year, just for the safety purposes. And I wanted to thank Carter for organizing that. And we have our family of Rotary today with Bob Hyde on Zoom.
Thank you, President Mary Pat. We have no West Side Rotary birthdays this week, but on Monday, November 30th, we have 3. Justin Merritt, his birthday is November 30th, along with past President Michael Corrigan Jr. and past President Jimmy Kelly. So a West Side Rotary hand for our birthday Rotarians. This week's Marty Sack Memorial story is actually a set of mini stories. These are things that people actually said in court, word for word, taken down by court reporters. These are dialogues between attorneys and witnesses. First, the attorney questioned, "Now, doctor, isn't it true that when a person dies in his sleep, he doesn't know about it until the next morning?" Witness answer, "Did you actually pass the bar exam?" Next one, attorney, "The youngest son, the 20-year-old, how old is he?" Answer, "He's 20, much like your IQ." Next, attorney, "Doctor, how many of your autopsies have you performed on dead people?" Witness, "All of them. The live ones put up too much of a fight." Next, attorney, "Are you qualified to give a urine sample?" Witness, "Are you qualified to ask that question?" And finally, attorney, "Doctor, before you performed the autopsy, did you check for a pulse?" Answer, "No." Attorney, "Did you check for blood pressure?" Answer, "No." Attorney, "Did you check for breathing?" Answer, "No." So then, is it possible that the patient was alive when you began the autopsy? Witness, "No." Attorney, "How can you be so sure, doctor?" Witness, "Because his brain was sitting on my desk in a jar." Attorney, "I see, but could the patient still have been alive nevertheless?" Witness, "Yes, it is possible that he could have been alive and currently practicing law." President P., this concludes my report. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Bob. That was a wing dinger, as my dad would say. We have next our Sergeant at Arms report by Dane Jensen. He also has the football report, and we'll introduce our guests.
Good afternoon, everybody. President Mary Pat, if it's okay, before I head to the podium, I'll go ahead and introduce our members, or excuse me, our guests and visiting Rotarians. First up, Doug Milne has a guest. Guests.
I have 3 guests from our office, Marie Wells and Rhonda Martin, and our great friend and manager of the Cecil Field Golf Course, Robbie Newcomer.
Thank you, Mr. Milne. Next up, Ed Lombard has a guest.
My guest today is Renee Parento. She's a member of the Downtown Rotary Clubs. And also, if you need any pictures or photography work done, she does most of Jacksonville. So hit her up.
Up next, Shep College has a guest.
Here's old friend Doug.
Last but not least, Mr. Cantor has a guest.
My guest is my wife, Sharon Cantor.
All right, moving on to the fantasy football pool. Overall, we have a new leader. Bob Kidd now is in first place at 7-3. It looks like the total points for the team separate people who are tied technically by record. So Team Kidd has scored just over 1,300 points this season. I'm currently in second place also at 7-3. I've scored just over 1,100 points. Brandon Hillard's team is currently in third at 6-4 with just very close to 1,200. Team Carroll is also at 6-4 with 1,158 points. Team Runyon at 6-4 at 1,166. Team Wallmeyer is also at 6-4 with 971 points. Rounding everything out, Team Butler is at 5-5. Team Sherlock 5-5. Team Maloney 4-6. Team Cold 3-7. Team Howie 3-7. And Team Chapman 2-8. Along the football news, it looks like Ed Lombard has asked me to announce that Michael Corrigan won our football pool this week. Congratulations. Junior, sorry. Michael Corrigan Jr. Congratulations, Mike. And Joe Eberly won 2 weeks ago for the folks on Zoom. Never was announced. Sorry about that, Joe. All right, it's tough to follow Bob Hyde today. It only took me 2 months to try to find a joke that was suitable for Rotary. A captain and first mate stood on the deck of one of His Majesty's warships and noticed an enemy ship on the horizon. The captain looked to the first mate and said, "Please bring me my red shirt." In the ensuing fight, the captain and crew fought valiantly and defeated their enemy. The first mate spoke with the captain afterwards and asked, "Why did you ask for a red shirt?" The captain replied, "Because if I were injured and bleeding, I would want our crew to continue on fighting bravely without regard for my personal well-being." The first mate was very impressed. The next morning, 10 enemy warships appeared on the horizon, and the captain looked to the first mate and whispered, "Please bring me my brown pants." And I believe Joe also has a quick pop-up before we introduce today's speaker.
Okay. You'll see on your tables, we got some very nice thank you notes from the kids at Carter G. Woodson Elementary School from when we delivered the dictionaries a month or two ago. So just wanted everyone to know that they very much appreciate. We had enough dictionaries that we were able to give them to all the kids. That's a very small school, and we were able to give each one of the kids a dictionary. So that worked out very nicely. So I'll turn it back to Mary Pat.
I think that concludes my report, President Mary Pat.
Thank you, Dane. I think everybody is looking forward to our program today given by Doug Milne. It's a tradition and it's something we look forward to every year. So without any further ado, Mr. Milne, we are so excited to hear from you today.
Good afternoon, fellow Rotarians. How's this? At work? Great. I was thinking probably a few hours ago and then a few days ago about how very important this club is to me and has been for a long, long time. Stu tells me that he and I and Stanley are the third, fourth, and fifth, or something like that, longest term members, and that caught me by surprise. It seems more like I joined the club a few months ago or a few years ago, not numbers of decades ago. And it has been a wonderful experience, and I hope continues to be for a long, long time, simply because of being able to deal with people the likes of which I'm looking at right now. You all are a wonderful group, and it has been my great pleasure and honor to be associated with you week in and week out for all this time. You all remember Bob Shercliffe. About 35 years ago, or thereabout, I'm not quite sure exactly when, Bob called me. Every year at Thanksgiving time, we had a wonderful Thanksgiving speech given by a man named Earl Cooper. Stanley, you remember Earl. He was the minister of the Riverside Baptist Church, and he gave us a fine Thanksgiving message every year. But he had died. And Bob called me in March of that year, sometime in the late 80s, and asked me if I would prepare and deliver a Thanksgiving talk to the club that following November. Well, you know Bob Shercliffe, and you don't ever decline anything Bob Shercliffe asks you to do, because he wouldn't ask you if it weren't the right thing to do. Plus, I had from March until November to work on it. So I did, and delivered the talk then, and I figured that would be the end of that. It was a great experience and fun for me to work on and fun for me to deliver, and life would go on. Barnum McCarty was in the club then. He was minister at St. Mark's Church. He came up to me right afterwards and asked me if I would redeliver it at St. Mark's, which I did. And in those days, we had lots of makeup Rotarians from all over the place. And numbers of them kindly asked me if I would be willing to give the talk to their club, and I did. And for the last 30 plus years, I've been honored to be asked to give this talk in lots of places, and always feel good about doing it because people seem to afterwards feel good about having heard it. And that's reward enough for me. My dad was alive then. He was a founding member of this club, and during the last several years of his life, he would come and listen to it. And now son William has followed in his steps, and that's very meaningful me to have those two ends of the spectrum, my dad and my youngest son, in the audience when I give this talk. When I put it together and delivered it, it was all about my dad. He grew up during the Depression in the Pacific Northwest and loved every minute of his life in this wonderful land. I tried to mold the talk through his eyes, not mine, but his. A man with a boundless zest for life, its challenges, and a keen sense of fair play. Great it is to dream the dream as we stand in youth by the starry stream. But greater it is to fight life through and then be able to say at the end, you know, that dream is true. He reached high and he dreamed deep. Those dreams first became goals and then turned into accomplishments. A wonderful role model for grandson William and me and brother Jack and our sister Mary and everyone who has ever known him. This message today, just as it was those 30 plus years ago, is dedicated to the earlier Doug Milne. This land is your land. This land is my land, from California to the New York Island, from the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land, America, was made for you and for me. Thus rang Woody Guthrie's lyrics of the America 1940s and well beyond. in the same spirit of love and devotion, pride, and thanksgiving has been in the hearts of all Americans for every one of our centuries. Around the turn of the last century, a young, tired, and lonely Scotsman landed at Ellis Island, embarking on his own adventure in this great new land of unmatched opportunity. A plumber by trade, he would make his way from New York to San Francisco after the great earthquake there, looking for work. Then moving north into the Oregon wilderness, he sent back to Scotland for his future intended so they could build their life and their dreams together in America, they not having seen each other in over 5 years. And that they did, and for that, they were ever thankful. Long even before the Pilgrims arrived at Plymouth Rock, this land made for you and for me was the object of dreams, of mystery, and of challenge. In the early 1500s, Spanish explorer Juan Ponce de Leon landed just south of what we now know as Jacksonville Beach, laying claim of the entire country for Spain. Not many years later, French Huguenots, searching for religious freedom, landed at the mouth of what they called the River May to establish the first significant settlement from foreign lands anywhere in North America. Today, what those Frenchmen called River May, we call River St. John's. For thousands of years, the words of the Hebrew psalmist had been read and had been believed. Praise the Lord, for it's a good thing to sing praises unto our God. Yes, a joyful and pleasant thing it is to be thankful. Well, picture those struggling, freedom-seeking French men and women and children discovering the beauty of the very same land that you and I live in and love today. My guess is these people gave thanks just as that Hebrew had done thousands of years before. Our nation, as international observers often point out, even though still young when compared to so many other lands, is every bit the world's benchmark. Did the Pilgrims foresee this? Did those amazing men, women, and children who endured those dread winters, hunger and pain, sickness and death, have any idea this land would become the greatest nation ever known in the history of man? Well, I believe they did. I believe those Plymouth colonists did know after surviving those severe conditions and then seeing corn break through the fertile soil and grow like their other crops and like their hope. As breath is to the body, hope is to the spirit. They knew as they established their farms, built their towns and businesses, churches and schools, they all knew. And they stopped. They even took a day, a Thanksgiving Day, to rejoice and plain old-fashioned give thanks. Puritans, Catholics, Quakers, and Huguenots, Jews and Protestants, every one of them knew, like Americans have continued to know for now over 350 years. America means Thanksgiving. America means freedom, love, and devotion, family and gratitude, courage and principles, and the will to fight for those things that are held so dear, and yes, often to even die for them. My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee we sing. As the years go by, the love and thanksgiving for this great new land grows stronger and stronger. 13 colonies, Massachusetts to Georgia, rice, indigo, tobacco, livestock, corn, wheat, and timber, taxation without representation, and restrictions against that which Americans have always craved the most, their freedom. The Boston Tea Party, Paul Revere and Betsy Ross, the Revolutionary War, including the Battle of Thomas's Creek, now the dividing line between Florida counties, Duval and Nassau. July 4th, 1776. The Declaration of Independence provides that all men are created equal and are endowed by their Creator with rights to life, to liberty, and to the pursuit of happiness. Almost 200 years later, then President John F. Kennedy, when conferring in the White House with a group of his brightest counselors, remarked that there had not been such a concentration of brain power in that building since Thomas Jefferson, author of the Declaration of Independence, had dined there all by himself. While Jefferson may not agree with what you'd say, he would defend to the very death your right to say it. George Washington, the father of our country, the snow was red with blood. Their faith was worn at Valley Forge. Their faith was brotherhood. Wasn't that a time to try the soul of man? Benjamin Franklin and the Continental Congress. Franklin, considered our first great literary figure and one of the foremost scientists of his age, whom universities and learned societies on both sides of the Atlantic delighted to honor, had only 2 years of formal schooling. He became our most skillful diplomat, helped draft that Declaration of Independence, and secured the support of France for our newly formed republic. All his life, Benjamin Franklin believed that there's one God who made all things, that he governs the world by his providence, that he ought to be worshiped by adoration, by prayer, and by thanksgiving. But, said Franklin, the most acceptable service to God is doing good to man. Franklin told the Continental Convention, I believe that providence guides the affairs of all men, and never a sparrow falls to the ground that God does not attend his funeral, and that all the hairs on our heads are numbered. I don't believe an empire or a republic can be launched without God's help. And I move you, Mr. President, that this convention open with prayer, and that we petition divine guidance and help in the step we're about to take. America adopts its Constitution in 1787, creating a flexible government system which continues in its basic form today. In fact, of all constitutions existing at the time ours was adopted, now well over 250 years ago, only the U.S. Constitution still survives. When the people fear their government, there's tyranny. When the government fear the people, there's liberty. Thomas Jefferson. Years go quickly by, and our nation continues to grow, and it grows under God, and it grows indivisible, and it grows with liberty and justice for all. New York, Boston, Baltimore, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, great American cities in that star-spangled banner, so proudly she'd wave, o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. Savannah, Charleston, and New Orleans, Chicago, St. Louis, and Cleveland, big cities with big hearts and with big dreams. Strong-willed and courageous men and women attracted by vast farmland, minerals, and forest resources move over the Appalachians well beyond our young country's western boundary to build new lives and raise families in unsettled wilderness, just as earlier Americans had done eastward. The Native American, Apache, Seminole, Cherokee, the Timucua, and so many, many more. The California Gold Rush and the Western Saga, where they sleep out every night, and the only law is right. Cowboys, those strange men who invented lonesome, sing out with throats burned dry. All day I faced the barren waste without a taste of water. But with the same sturdy spirit and hope that has always typified Americans, they press on, and way up there, he'll hear our prayer and show us where there's water. Land grants and homesteads, Oklahoma and the Great Plains, where overeager settlers rush to make claims before they're allowed to, and hence are given the name Sooners. Lewis and Clark spend the winter where the Oregon Trail ends in a small Oregon town on the Columbia River called the Dalles, to be followed by thousands migrating overland into that wonderful part of our majestic country. Many Europeans would follow Lewis and Clark and find their way into this frontier land, including the aforementioned pioneer from Scotland. Railroads and steamboats, the cotton gin, telegraph, steel plow, and reaper, faster printing presses, regular newspapers, lithography, Nathaniel Currier and James Merritt Ives, depicting American scenes, customs, and events, including one called Thanksgiving. Time to remember and time to give thanks for this wonderful new land of unmatched opportunity. God, our Maker, does provide for our wants to be supplied. Come, ye thankful people, come and raise the song of harvest home. The most tragic chapter and heaviest pain of our not unflawed history finds Americans battling Americans, brother against brother. Friends become enemies. The Civil War, with more American lives lost than all our other wars put together. Much of the former Confederacy is left in ruins, with long and deep-seated bitterness and division between Americans of the North and Americans of the South. But it's been said that a sense of providence is a trust of tomorrow, drawn from the power of all our yesterdays. To love where you've been is a ready embrace of where you have yet to go. That was clear to Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln, who held that some should be rich, shows that others can become rich, and hence his encouragement to industry and to enterprise. The Industrial Revolution. American railroads expand to provide a means for the distribution of goods. American ingenuity. American inventions respond to public needs, and American businessmen and businesswomen produce those products. Investors and bankers, capital for expansion. Coal mining, oil and railroad, manufacturers and sellers, steel, machinery, and clothing, all produced in enormous quantity. America's great cities grow greater. Huge fortunes are amassed from the business boom, but many would continue in poverty. Big business rises as millions move from farm to city. The American telephone, the American airplane, the American phonograph, American automobiles in mass production and in any color you wanted, just so long as the color you wanted was black. Ransom Eli Olds and Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, the Wright brothers, and Alexander Graham Bell. America's rich natural resources, abundant water supply to power machinery, lumber for construction and products from our vast forest lands, coal and iron from the ground, producing steel to build machines, railroad tracks, cars, and bridges, copper, silver, petroleum, labor unions, and social reform. That Scotsman who settled in Oregon arrived only about 40 years after completion of the world's first transcontinental railroad system, linking our country by rail from east to west. With the railroad came economic growth, shipping, and transporting people. Cornelius Vanderbilt and Jay Gould, early merchants including R.H. Macy and Marshall Field. Right or wrong, the customer is always right. And John Wanamaker, when a customer enters my store, you forget about me. That customer is king. New mail order companies begun by men named Montgomery Ward and Richard Sears. Strong political machines are developed by Democrat and Republican parties. Military strength increases, and America becomes a world power, an international leader. The gay 90s, American football, American baseball, and American basketball have all begun. Teddy Roosevelt, this country will not be a very good place for anyone to live until it's a reasonably good place for everyone to live. America tries to stay out of war, but after too many German acts of aggression, including sinking ships, we declare war on Germany in 1917. Doughboys and Liberty Bonds, Allied victory in 1918, armistice and memorial. The Roaring Twenties. For the first time, most Americans now live in cities. Lindbergh crosses the Atlantic, and the Constitution is amended, allowing women the right to vote. Prohibition, radio and movies, the Charleston, Wilson, Harding, Coolidge, and Hoover. Margin buying, stock market crash, depression. Red Grange, Jack Dempsey, Joe Louis, Bobby Jones, and the immortal Babe Ruth. FDR and the New Deal, the CCC, WPA, and Farm Credit Administration. German troops overrun Poland, and much of Europe unites in war against Germany. But we stay out until December 7th, 1941, when Japan bombs Pearl Harbor, and we declare war on Germany, Japan, and Italy. The war lasts 4 long and bitter years, and that Scotsman's 3 sons would all serve: Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Truman and Eisenhower, American might and endurance, men, women, and children, black and white, preserving world freedom and world peace. Many would go when called, many wouldn't ever return. The greatest of sacrifices for the land where our fathers died, the land of the Pilgrim's pride. From every mountainside, let freedom ring. Russia and China spread the threat of communism, the Korean War. One day, his minister called on the discouraged Scotsman whose son had long been missing in action and was presumed to be dead. After the minister paid his respects, he walked from the shop out onto the street, and word came by phone in the shop that the son had been found and that he was alive and that he was well. Frantically, the Scottish plumber ran out onto the sidewalk and caught up with his minister and thrust on him all the cash from his shop's cash register. Thanksgiving. Kennedy's 1,000 days. Ask not what your country can do for you. You ask what you can do for your country. Johnson, Nixon, and Ford. Vietnam and the Civil Rights Movement. Rosa Parks. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I have a dream that one day the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. Space travel, satellites, Americans on the moon, computers and spreading drives for human equality, colleges and universities, 747s and L-1011s, World Series, Super Bowls, Disney World, You've Got Mail, and Zoom meetings. American scientific breakthroughs and medical life-saving technology. From the redwood forest to the Gulf Stream waters. America, this land made for you and for me, is a nation which has consistently through its history faced and aggressively endured and overcome turmoil, strife, and struggle of a magnitude unlike the rest of the world, and it's going to continue so to do. America, from Wall Street to Bourbon Street to Hollywood and Vine, from the Broward Bridge at Dane Point to the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, Alaska to Florida, Maine to Hawaii, with strong resilience, faith-based ingenuity, patriotism, reliance on our spiritual and moral fiber, and our great American humanitarian creed, we are the symbol of mankind's hope for the future. Just as those going before us, including that oft-mentioned Scotsman who was my grandfather, William's great grandfather, and who loved his adoptive country, next Thursday we all stop. We raise that song of Harvest Home and give thanks for all the blessings in this great land where our fathers died, this great land of the Pilgrim's pride. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Mr. Milne. It always signifies to me that we are definitely in the Thanksgiving holiday season when you've presented to the club, and we're so grateful to you for that. I wanted to remind everybody that we will not be meeting next week so that we can all celebrate Thanksgiving with our families. And we will be meeting in person on December 2nd. So if you would like to plan to attend in person, please email Patty to let her know so that she can plan for your meal. Our speaker on December 2nd will be the retired Navy submarine commander, Richard Domnosky. And if you'd like to join our board meeting, we're meeting tomorrow night at 5 o'clock via Zoom. And with that, I'd like for Carter to please lead us in the four-way test today. And thank you for being with us, and happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you, Mary Pat.
Okay. Did you do the four-way test?
President Mary Pat, we did the four-way test. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'm sorry.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Stay safe.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Bye, Jeff. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you, Mary Pat.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Okay, Mark.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Mark.
Thank you. Jeff, if you see your sister, tell her I said hello.
I will, Mark. And hey, Jerry, good to see you.
Good to see you, Jeff.
Mark, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Hope all is well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Last time I saw Karen was at our kids' high school graduation.
Oh, goodness. How long ago was that?
Oh, I don't know. My daughter or son just turned 33, so you do the math.
Okay.
Karen and I ran around together in DC when she was up at
Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon.
Mount Vernon Seminary. And where were you in school?
Well, I was in school in Arlington, Virginia.
What's the name of the school?
Yorktown.
Okay. I will tell her you said hello.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right. Y'all take care. Happy Thanksgiving.
Same to everybody.
Thank you. All right, so